Hello and welcome to the Assembly of Iron tutorial brought to you by wowguidesnow.com. In this tutorial, I'll first explain the basics of this fight, and then explain it in greater detail with a full 25-man raid encounter footage. For further details and discussion on the topic, please click the link in the movie description if you're watching this on YouTube to be redirected to wowguidesnow.com. The Assembly of Iron consists of 3 bosses that all need to be killed. The first and largest boss of the group is Steelbreaker, the second is Morgane, and the last and smallest of the group is Brundir. This is also the order that you're gonna kill them, because whenever one of them is killed, the other 2 survivors will gain a powerful buff, and killing them in any other order will trigger the hard mode abilities on the bosses. Killing one of them also instantly heals the remaining ones, so they need to be killed one by one. Each boss needs to be tank apart with a tank of its own. The raid will first focus on Steelbreaker. Steelbreaker does a nasty strike on the tank called Fusion Punch that will leave a fatal DOT on him. This needs to be dispelled ASAP. Throughout the entire encounter, Morgane will occasionally put a rune of power under the feet of the bosses. The rune gives a huge buff to anyone standing in it, so pull the boss away from it, and if at all possible, DPS should stand in it to gain the buff themselves. While all of this is happening, Brundir will occasionally cast an overload, which will explode for massive damage to anyone near them. It has a long cast time, enough to allow your tank to get away should your healers feel it's too much for them to handle. Once Steelbreaker is dead, Morgane will gain the Rune of Death talent. Spread your raid, because Rune of Death has a really big area, and raid members need to get out of it ASAP. Once Morgane is dead, Brundir will gain his most powerful ability and occasionally start flying up in the air and start chasing random players, doing a massive AoE around him. When this happens, just run away from him and from the person he's chasing and spread out as much as possible in the room until he's finished flying. Now let's watch it all happen in a 25-man raid encounter footage. The encounter starts, each boss is being pulled to a different side of the room, and we're starting off with Steelbreaker. You can't see it here, but Steelbreaker puts a nasty DOT on the tank that needs to be dispelled ASAP. Here in the back you can see Morgane being tanked, and Morgane turns away and casts Rune of Power under the feet of Steelbreaker. Steelbreaker is being pulled away from it, and we are taking his place to get the rune's buff. Morgane just put the Rune of Power under his own feet, so he's being pulled away from it as well. Steelbreaker dies, he infuses the other 2 remaining bosses with their new abilities, and we are all switching off to Morgane. We are spreading out because soon you're gonna see the Rune of Death. There it is, there's the greenish thing on the floor. You have to get out of it ASAP and continue the DPS. He just put another Rune of Power under his own feet, he's being pulled away from it, and we are taking his place. We kind of forgot about Brundir. You can see him being tanked all the way on the back. Remember that throughout all of this fight he was being tanked in the background. Yet another Rune of Power. And once he's dead as well, we all turn to Brundir. Brundir still uses all of his abilities, so you have to keep watch for overload. There it is now, and all the raids should stay clear away from overload or they will be one-shotted. And now Brundir takes off to the air. It's a bit chaotic because everyone's trying to get away from him and from the person he's chasing, but as long as you're aware to this and spread out and run in the room, you're gonna be okay. And there we go, he lands back and we continue to tank him as normal. The rest of the fight is pretty much repeating the same thing over and over again until he's dead. And that concludes the Assembly of Iron tutorial. I hope you found it beneficial. As always, you can find additional information and discussion on the topic through the link in the movie description. I would like to thank Resurrection Guild, and until next time, have a great raid and killer drops.